my fellow sons. Uh, I am the world's biggest geek. I am joined by Devin son, John son, Zach son, Rob son, and Mark son. And we are here today to talk about the Karate Kid Legends film. It's a film that all of us, in the past we kind of was like, okay, this is an anticipated film of ours. And spoiler alert, this is a very divisive film. Not everyone had the same opinions as the others, so this should be a very interesting stream where hopefully our opinions don't develop into a toxic yelling match. Honestly, hey, what it's not a good stream if all of us are debating about something. So to give a brief backstory, a couple months ago, actually around when the new year started, Cobra Kai ended. Yeah, a 6-season show ended beautifully, and it pretty much was the end of what we thought was the Karate Kid saga. And a little while during the final season being premiered, there was reports about a Karate Kid sequel being made. And as the news was being revealed, we started to find out that Jackie Chan was going to be reprising his role as Mr. Han. Then we found out that Ralph Macchio was going to be in the movie. Many of us, including myself, was wondering if they were going to have William Zabka, but unfortunately, it was not going to have any of the characters from Cobra Kai, at least when it came to those particular characters. I mean, Ralph Macchio, but you get the point. And I would say that I was really excited for this film. I really liked the trailers. I liked what was going to be, what it looked to be in the film. I was very interested in seeing how Mr. Han was going to be bouncing off of Daniel's character, considering that one knows karate and the other knows kung fu. And I watched the film, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty decent. I didn't, I knew what I was getting myself into. I mean, we've seen this movie like how many times? Guy moves to new town. Guy meets girl is in love with or girl dated some jerk. Then the jerk comes after the main character and kicks his butt so hard that he needs to run to a dude to learn karate. And then they, bing bam boom. I win. You get it's basically the formula we've seen how many times. So as like before, whenever I usually host here, I mean, everyone has their initial reviews, and then we go into a free for all because it just flows better with the stream. So I already said that I liked it. Pretty much I will get to the positives and the negatives later when we do our free for all, but overall I liked it. I think it was a pretty decent movie. Would I rank it as high as the rest of the franchise? No, but I do think it's definitely better than the Karate Kid 3 movie and the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, those movies it's pretty easy to make better movies than those. So but we'll go to Devin because he has a different opinion from me.
Giving a full review.
What's up?
So am I not doing a full review?
Oh, I mean, if you want to do your full review, I was mean like I just meant like eventually everyone would give their review and then we would like talk about like the no.
I don't know. I don't mean to break the flow here, but I feel a little more comfortable just giving my full thoughts.
Yeah.
Like my review. But Karate Kid Legends. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. As a massive fan of the original Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. I mean, like I always say, like we started this show by reviewing Cobra Kai Season 5, and then we reviewed all 3 parts of Season 6. So the Miyagi-verse has a warm place in all of the cool kids' hearts. So after the excellent Season 6 Part 3, I was even more excited for this movie. The trailers looked fun. However, my expectations dwindled slightly after reading the mixed reactions and seeing its shockingly short runtime. And after seeing it, All I gotta say is, yikes. This may not be worse than Karate Kid 3 or Next Karate Kid, but I'm gonna be honest. I was not impressed. Okay, when you're making someone's layout bigger, move me to where you're at. There we go. Perfect. All right. It's not worse than Karate Kid 3 or Next Karate Kid, but I thought this movie was crap. I'm sorry. I was extremely disappointed. Positives first. I'd say the biggest positive for me was Ben Wan as Lee. I know this was like his first like leading role, and I gotta say, this kid impressed the hell out of me. I thought he was great in the movie. He played a very likable and badass character, and I'm looking forward to see what this talented young man does next. The rest of the acting was solid as well, including from Sadie Stanley, Joshua Jackson, Ming-Na Wan, and of course Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio as Mr. Han and Daniel. I enjoyed Han and Daniel's dynamic together, and their scenes where they're trading Lee were a lot of fun to watch. And I thought Lee and Mia's scenes were cute together. No, not you, Mia. Another Mia. The minute I said Mia, my cat Mia looked up like as if I was talking about her. And lastly, I love the end credit scene with Johnny. William Zabka, he's just as lovable as always, and he just has like the best lines, like Miyagi Do. I'm not talking like dough, like pizza. Yeah, I know what you mean. Now, why don't I like this movie? Biggest problems I have with this movie have to do with the editing and the pacing. Yeah, they both sucked. The editing was extremely choppy and sloppy, not just with the fight scenes, but with all the obnoxious transitions that look like Ang Lee's Hulk or like a music video. They just took me out of the movie. I also think the hour-and-a-half runtime killed this movie. I'm not asking for something as long as Lawrence of Arabia or Return of the King, but I felt the 2-hour runtime benefited the original Karate Kid a lot because we got to see more of the character development for Daniel and Miyagi's relationship. Here, everything here just moved a little bit too quick, and a lot of those development scenes where we could have used some character development just fell by the wayside. And like I said, it was way too rushed, and this movie feels like two movies mashed into one movie. First, you have the one movie about Lee training a former boxer, to fight for a match, to get his pizza shop, to get money for his pizza shop and pay off some loan sharks, and that just stops. And the filmmakers are like, as someone else will say later, "Oh yeah, we're making a Karate Kid movie. Oh look, here's Jackie Chan, here's Ralph Macchio. Here we go. Let's go do that. Let's do what let's do what the trailer's advertised." And I'm sitting there like, bruh, I want to watch a movie called The Karate Kid, not The Boxing Man. If I wanted to do that, I'd just watch Rocky. And yes, I know the director of the original did the first Rocky. But still, I signed up for Karate Kid Legends, not another Rocky movie. And I also felt Daniel was wasted in this movie. Like Jeremy Johns said, it felt like someone dragged him off set while in the middle of filming an episode of Cobra Kai and asked him, "Hey, do you want to make a couple extra bucks?" And and Ralph's like, "Okay." And we just have a glorified cameo. And the fight scenes weren't very memorable either. I watched this movie yesterday, and I already forgot a good chunk of this movie. Like, none of the fights really stuck out to me. At least the other movies, you had some memorable fighting and memorable, finishing moves. Like in the original, you had the crane kick. In Karate Kid 2, you had the drum technique. Karate Kid 3, you had the Macarena. like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you much about this final fight. But yeah, the Macarena kid. Overall, I gotta side with the critics on this one. I know a lot of people here do like this movie, and I'm happy you got something out of it. But again, I gotta side with the critics in this one. This movie is crap. It is bad. It gets worse the more I think about it. Sure, yeah, it has solid acting, especially for Ben Wang, a funny post-credit scene, and some good and some fun training scenes, but the editing and the pacing are terrible. It's way too rushed, and the story is way too unfocused. Is it worse than Karate Kid 3? No. But I remember more from Karate Kid 3 than I do this movie. Mainly just because Karate Kid 3 was just so unbelievably and ungodly stupid that you just can't help it. You just can't help but remember that movie. Is it worse than the next Karate Kid? Probably not. I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure. But as a fan of the first two movies and of Cobra Kai, I expected much more. And even if you're a fan of these movies, I'd say skip this one and, I don't know, go see something else in theaters instead. Go see Mission Impossible or bring her back. And that's why I'm going to have to give this movie an unenthusiastic 3 out of 10.
Well, okay then.
All
All right, next up is the Geek Informant.
I am muted. Oh my goodness. Already off to a rough start. Anyway, but Karate Kid Legends, the Halloween 3 of the Karate Kid franchise, and I'll explain why in a second. This is an intriguing study because it almost exists in this strange bubble. It is now joining the original timeline and the remake timeline into one. But with how this movie works and how it is portrayed, it is in what I call the Halloween 3 paradox. If this movie did not have the Karate Kid name, it wouldn't have gotten made. But the fact that it does comes with a certain stigma that many are complaining is absent, and use that as something to complain about when the movie is great outside of that. I will try my best to explain properly. As always, I start off with the acting, which is most definitely the best part of the film. Ben Wong as Li Fong is definitely going places. He is already lined up for the Stephen King adaptation of The Long Walk later this year, and another franchise film, The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, next year. He was brilliant here. Not only were his martial arts skills absolutely jaw-dropping, but he was also endlessly likable, charismatic, relatable, and acted among greats like Jackie Chan and Ming-Na Wen effortlessly. So I have high hopes for his future because he was most definitely brilliant here, in addition to his chemistry with other characters. I think Sadie Stanley as Mia was also very good, and her chemistry with Wong felt very good and natural. She definitely has that energy of the, girlfriend character who clearly cares about Li Fong, but has complicated relationships, but also doesn't take shit. I liked her quite a bit. Joshua Jackson was also really likable as her father, Victor. I loved his relationship with Lee. I liked the idea of Lee training someone older and using his knowledge of Kung Fu to help someone in need and fulfill his need of Kung Fu in his life. Their relationship was charming and believable. Jackie Chan and Ming-Na Wen are in much smaller roles, but they still serve a proper purpose of being what Lee needs in different parts of the movie. Jackie Chan is equal parts badass and funny, and I love how his journey in between films led to this place with his school and his relationship with Lee. I love seeing it, and I think it could have been great to see a little bit more of it, but since that isn't the story, I'm okay with it. Ming-Na Wen is always wonderful to see, and no, not in the way that you're thinking, you dirty, dirty boys. She is a good mother character, someone who is clearly still grieving and is trying to do the best possible things for her son. She doesn't come off as bad or as a terrible parent, just someone trying their best. Wyatt Olaf was properly funny and nice to see. Then finally, Tim Rosen and Artemis Knight were pretty much one-dimensional bad guys, but that is pretty much a thing for this series. Definitely reminiscent of the classic 80s bad guy. Evil for the sake of being evil. I love to see it. someone not falling into good old classic Thanos syndrome. It was nice to see Ralph Macchio, and I don't mind his small part because it's Fong's story, not his. Karate Kid. Lee Fong is the Karate Kid, not Daniel now. It's Lee, just feel like people were kind of confused with that. I think the editing can be a little bit awkward at times, but not something that was incredibly noticeable after a while. The pacing was brisk. It does feel like it's running time, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you are. For me, I didn't mind it. I feel like too many movies nowadays, we're getting like overly long, slow pieces of shit because they think longer is better when that just isn't the case. Since this is a franchise made for younger kids and teens, the short running time is, I think, necessary. It cuts out the fat and leaves us with a nice, lean movie. Because it's Karate Kid, this franchise is reliant on the underdog story made popular with Rocky, which this movie clearly homages with a certain boxing subplot. So try to trim that as much as we can. Showing, not telling was something I also liked here as well. We just get one scene to show, for instance, he's struggling in school. Boom, there you go. We don't need to have it go on and on and on and on. We literally got a 6-season TV show of this shit. A brisk movie with a 94-minute running time was the right way to go. While the music isn't personally for me, as I don't like rap very much, but it helped to be in the mindset of the characters, so I think it worked for what we got. The fight cinematography was good for the most part, mainly when Fong is fighting. It was a little dodgy when Chan and Macchio were fighting, since Chan is a little bit too old and Macchio can barely fight at all. I also did want to talk about the setting. I saw this movie with my dad, who is from New York, and he was gushing about how this movie showcases its setting, how it doesn't go for the obvious hallmarks of New York City, but still feeling like it is the more grounded parts of the city, despite not being filmed there for the majority of it. Just something I thought was interesting and wanted to mention. Also, as a Mets fan, it was very, very nice to see a lot of paraphernalia in the movie, especially that Darryl Strawberry jersey. That was very nice to see. The story, I think, was quite good. It fell into the proper conventions of the Karate Kid story. Underdog kid has to fight the big bad bully with help from his mentor while also getting the girl. Boom. Simple enough. And it works here. If it worked in the original, the sequel, and the show, it's good enough to work here too. But ironically, the things I liked the most were the things that didn't fall into the Karate Kid conventions. Lee already being great at Kung Fu, hell, Kung Fu instead of karate. Him training someone older, having 2 mentors instead of 1, a mother who doesn't support him initially, the misunderstanding being brushed away easily, and a couple other things. Is the through line predictable? Yes, but it's literally been with the franchise since the fucking beginning. The protagonists always win. Spoiler alert. Whether that is Daniel, Hilary Swank, or Jaden Smith in the movies, and then Miguel, Robbie, or Johnny in the show. It is always the same old story. That's the franchise. If you can't accept that, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But even then, it still gives us great characters, an entertaining story, a fun premise, and gives us a few differences here and there that I loved. I honestly would have preferred an entire story about Lee and Victor training together. Lee teaching Victor how to box, but Victor teaching Lee maybe about American life. But that brings us back to the Halloween 3 paradox. If it was about that, it wouldn't be a Karate Kid movie, and it wouldn't have gotten made. So you do have those sensibilities and story beats that you need to include. But where this movie also succeeds is that those story beats are still engaging, the typical Karate Kid ones. Despite this, I was still invested in Lee's journey that follows more into the franchise we know and love. But I'm not going to lie, I would have preferred the more unconventional narrative. However, I was still loving the final battle between Connor and Lee. I also loved, again, another spoiler, seeing Johnny Lawrence in the final minutes of the movie. I just knew he'd have a cameo here, at the very least, and I was very, very happy to see him. My theater actually applauded him, too. What a full circle moment. Going from 80s, sadistic-hated 80s villain to applause in a Karate Kid movie. Gotta love the full circle journey for William Zabka. If I had any negatives, honestly, they're mostly nitpicks. I do think it could have been maybe 5 or 10 minutes. There could have been like at least 5 or 10 more minutes for character stuff. I think the pacing was a bit too brisk at points when it could have stayed on something a couple seconds longer. I think the second act going into the third wasn't great, like that kind of like 5 to 10 minute stretch. It just felt like it was losing me a bit, but the third act brought me back into it. Some of the fight cinematography was choppy, as I mentioned, but considering age and lack of experience, it was forgivable. Overall, though, I really enjoyed this flick. I thought all the acting and character stuff was great, the story was engaging, and it felt like a proper Karate Kid movie in all the right ways, with some flaws here and there that don't majorly impede on the film. With that, I give it an 8 out of 10. Let's go, Mets.
That's my boy.
And now we have Zach.
All right. The movie of two opinions, if ever there was one. So, I gotta say, while it's not a franchise that I talk about anywhere near as much as, say, X-Men or Halloween, ones that I really love, I fucking love Karate Kid. It's a great, endearing story, great, endearing characters. I like damn near almost all the movies, even if some of them are for unironic reasons. Karate Kid 3. But nevertheless, it's a franchise I love. I haven't seen Cobra Kai, but I am trying to correct that wrong. Now, before I get into how I actually think about this movie, I think it is important to talk about my initial reaction so you can see where I'm coming from. So, I saw this movie like 3 weeks ago, and we'll call it an advanced screening. Now, it's a movie that I was really skeptical about from its initial announcement and conception. I was confused as to how they were going to combine both universes, and I was feeling off about certain character omissions, especially from the 2010 film. So when I finally watched it, I think it's putting it lightly to say that I didn't like it, hardly at all. There was at a point I was even gonna call it the worst Karate Kid movie, even below certain two. But I had 3 weeks to ponder on it, and then when everyone else started to see it, especially my man Mark here, he told me, watch it, watch it not as the movie you wanted, and actually watch it as it is. So I watched it. So I watched it again last night to genuinely try and see it for what it is. While it's still a film with a ton of problems, I don't think this is a perfect movie still. I do gotta say that it's a movie that I enjoyed a lot more on a second watch. Now, a lot of the things that I did like, even in my initial reaction, I still liked here. Li Fong plays a very likable main character. While I'm still mixed on whether or not we need to so overtly retread things from the original film, I at least get what they're going for. It's a classic formula. If it works, then hey, it still works. So I took it just as it was. The chemistry between him and the love interest Mia, I thought was really nice. They had some nice chemistry. While I could have used more scenes of them together, that is something that really benefited the couple in the original film. But there was just enough here, so I rolled with it. And honestly, what John said about the main villains, which is again, this is all stuff that I came to terms with on the second watch, because I had an issue with the lack of depth for the villains. But again, like John said, they're just evil for the sake of being evil, embracing classic tropes. So I was cool with it. And why I'm not gonna act like I'm still fully happy with the screen time that Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio had. I get it. It's not their story. Like, I was never expecting them to be the main leads, like, not at all. So it's not like there being this new lead was like a what the fuck, like tonal whiplash for me. But at the time, I still felt like I was sort of cheated out of getting more of them. But I make peace with the fact that Jackie Chan is still a lot of fun here. While I initially felt that he had a complete switch in personality from the 2010 film to this, I just had to come to terms with the fact that, with what he experienced in the original film, the 2010 film, it changed him. So it was actually nice on a second watch to see where he is in this movie. And with Daniel LaRusso, again, while I'm not gonna act like I'm totally happy with the fact that he isn't in it that much, I make peace with the fact that they don't misuse him here. They don't write him bad. He's perfectly in character. But I do gotta be honest and say that, just as a fan, I mean, I just wanted more of him. I mean, can you blame me? It's Daniel's son. But if there's one thing that I am like still in the middle on, is the pacing. While I do understand the type of pacing they're trying to go for, like just a faster, brisker story, I do think there could have been more here, not just for character stuff. It's mainly the training and the final tournament is where I feel like there could have been not a lot more, but just more. The whole point still gets across as is. The protagonists win, the villains lose per formula. So I was fine with it. You at least got to see some cool moves. And again, the heroes win, and you got to see at least one scene with Jackie Chan at the end. But this isn't who you are. You don't become like them. So I'm glad that we at least got a moment like that. Now for my big negative. For as much as I was able to forgive with this movie, and I really turned myself around on this movie while it's still not being perfect. I don't like that they just didn't mention Dre at all. Like, granted, it's not how I felt initially, where I felt like, oh, it takes the biggest dump on the 2010 film. I don't think it does. I don't think that anymore. I just generally felt that it was weird that Mr. Han didn't mention him, because the bond that they had in that original film, especially that scene where he's messing up the car, tells him what happened to his family and all that, and then how they bond through practicing kung fu and all that, like that scene. I love that scene. That is the scene that shows the bond they had, and so it just genuinely felt weird to me that there was no mention of Dre in this movie. But all in all, it's a movie I liked. Not loved. It's not perfect. And while it's definitely not the worst Karate Kid movie to me anymore, it definitely bumps itself up above 3 and Next. So yeah, I just decided to try and take it for what it was, and what it was a solid, if not flawed, addition to this series, and as is, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Hey, now we have right dude to give. Excuse me. Now we have right dude to give his review.
Okay. Let me pull up my review because that's what I got to do. Okay. Karate Kid Legends. As someone who's familiar with most of the Karate Kid movies, the only one I didn't bother watching was Next Karate Kid, just because I heard about how bad that one was. I was still highly anticipating this film. I mean, I love the original Karate Kid. I liked this. Part 2 was good, even though it had its problems. The remake was decent. The 2010 remake was decent, and I love Cobra Kai. So, and when I heard that it would be a collaboration between Daniel and Mr. Han from the 2010, I was at least kind of interested. So, it was an interesting idea to bridge the gap between the old and new. And even with the mixed reactions, I try to remain optimistic. Keep in word. The key word is try. I saw it last night, and Devin, you're not alone you're not an island on this one, because I thought this was a massive disappointment too. So I didn't like this movie either.
So let me start with the positives. The acting all around is solid, from the old cast, Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, to the new cast, to the Ben Wong, who does a really good job as Lee, and I can't wait to see what more this actor brings to the table. I could also say the same thing for other characters, other actors like Joshua Jackson, and Sadie Stanley. Everyone, I'll give it that everyone does give their A game performances. But the acting is like one of the best parts of this movie. There were maybe a few funny moments, and I mean the fight scenes were okay. There is something I'll talk about it in a minute with the fight scenes. In terms of the negatives, I will have to agree the editing was very choppy. There were so many quick cuts in this movie that honestly I feel kind of bad for anyone who has epilepsy. It's just like it just moves a little. It's just so all over the place, you know. It's just like here, this way, that way, this way, and the over-the-top transitions were pointless and obnoxious. And while it can work if the movie is trying to go for an over-the-top kind of style, I don't think it works here for a Karate Kid movie. But that's just me. The pacing feels incredibly rushed. Even for an hour and a half, it just seems like things go way too quickly. And this is very apparent with the runtime, because an hour and a half, really, it was the pacing was just so rushed. And honestly, this movie needs Ritalin. I'm sorry, it does. And not to mention, there were so many subplots that just go absolutely nowhere. Honestly, I feel sometimes it was like almost like watching a filler arc in an anime series, you know? It just feels that way. There's literally a scene in the movie, and Devin has pointed this out. There's literally a scene in the movie where the kid is training a washed out boxer, and it seems like, and then right when they're in the middle of like a boxing match, it's like the crew just thought to themselves, oh shit, this is supposed to be a Karate Kid film, not a Rocky film. Quickly, let's change it back. Should we just get rid of the scene? No. We got to keep in the runtime somehow. We got to get this movie going. It's like things like that. And plus the boxer, he loses the match because the opponent was tipped off to nearly kill him. And by the end, it was never resolved. It just goes absolutely nowhere. And like I said, it's filler for the sake of filler. And I did also mention that this movie is also very predictable. Even without the knowledge of the other films, you can know exactly where this is going. And yes, before anyone says, I know that this is a formula in the other movies, I had a problem with this formula kind of thing in the second and third one. The 2010 one, I can understand because it's a remake and they had to go that direction. But the thing is, the fact that even with that in mind, the movie itself plays itself a little too safe. I think that's honestly, I had to think about it for a minute on how I was going to word it. But I think the biggest thing is that it plays itself a little too safe. And honestly, I just feel like it's like Diet Karate Kid 1, you know? It's like it didn't really stand out to me. Yes, Mr. Han and Daniel were in there in the movie, but I just felt like it. I just felt like not really much happened in terms of like anything new with the Karate Kid lore, you know. But overall, this movie is a big disappointment for me. Would I say it was the worst Karate Kid movie? Probably not. I would probably say technically 3 is probably worse, and maybe the next Karate Kid is the worst, although I haven't seen that movie, so I can't really judge. However, I will say this, like Devin said, I at least remember things in part 3. I at least remember Terry Silver, and I remember the ridiculous fight move of Daniel doing the Macarena to beat Mike Barnes, you know? I really couldn't tell a whole lot when this, and that was another thing with the fight. I just try to remember exactly what actually happened. Oh, because it didn't really stand out to me. And keep in mind, I wanted to like this movie. I really did. Despite what the critics would say and what initially Zach said before he decided to switch sides, you traitor. However, it's just like it's just so play it safe. The story is so play it safe. It has terrible editing and transitions. The pacing is rushed, and it has pointless subplots that just go nowhere. I know many people here like this movie, and if you do, I'm happy for you. I really wish I did, but unfortunately, this movie didn't do anything for me. And I'm going to give it the same grade I gave that Devin gave it, which is a 3 out of 10.
And of course, last but certainly not least, the one, the only, Mark.
Mark Father.
Zach, I forgot to say so before, but proud of you, buddy. Very proud of you. So, right, dude. Rob, hate the game, not the player. So, hating a Karate Kid film for being a Karate Kid film is wild as fuck. But hey, who am I? Anyway, I've mulled on this before, but expectations play a major role in shaping how we view a film, whether or not we enjoy it. It says the context within which our enjoyment or lack thereof of the film any given film plays out. With this in mind, let us therefore set the stage for how I view this film. I have been a fan of the Karate Kid franchise ever since the original film was released way back in 1985. I liked all of the movies, yes, even their next Karate Kid, though I waited far too late to see it, since unfortunately I believed the hype. Sorry, Public Enemy. And avoided it like the plague since everybody said it was bad. And of course, I thoroughly enjoyed Cobra Kai as well. I even thought the 2010 reboot was decent, with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith carrying the film. Yet despite all of that, I really didn't expect much out of this film. I had only the foggiest idea of what it was all about. I had no idea who the lead actor was. I wasn't sure how they were going to tie together Mr. Han and Daniel. Ergo, I really didn't expect much. I figured it would probably be a fun popcorn film at best. Imagine my surprise, therefore, when it turned out to be one of the best films in the franchise. The heart of any Karate Kid film is the relationship between teacher and student. The greatness of the first film rests firmly on the heartfelt friendship that develops between Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. This carries over into the second and third films, which, while they may lack the magic of the original, still manage to be more solid than not, especially the second. Hilary Swank and Pat Morita have good chemistry in the next Karate Kid. The 2010 reboot had Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. This film took a bit of a different tack. While the relationship between teacher and student is still there, it takes more of a backseat. The relationship between Ben Wang's Li Fong, more properly Fong Li, to use East Asian naming conventions, and his uncle, Jackie Chan's Han Shifu, takes a bit of a backseat here, not necessarily in a bad way. He's there for the intro of the third act, along with Daniel for the latter, of course, but for the majority of the film, the focus is placed on the relationship between Lee and Joshua Jackson's Victor, the father of his love interest, Sadie Stanley's Mia. This not only allows the film to showcase Lee's formidable skills in Kung Fu, having been trained by his uncle, but also to delve more deeply into his background and the events that shaped his character, namely his guilt over the unfortunate death of his brother. Ben Wang absolutely nails this role, and we shall watch his future with great interest. It also feels good to see Joshua Jackson on the screen again, and he does a very good job playing the likable father figure. Moreover, it provides the impetus for Lee to break his promise to his mother, Ming Na Wen, by the way, Wood. Break his promise to his mother, played by Ming Na Wen, not by entering the Five Boroughs tournament against her wishes, since he does so only to help Victor pay off the loan shark threatening his business and his livelihood. This seemingly tight tangential side plot thus actually provides the heart of the film. Still, once Jackie Chan or Ralph Macchio do show up, they absolutely nail it. Jackie Chan shows off his considerable comedic skills alongside his obviously legendary fighting skills, and his friendly rivalry with Ralph Macchio's Daniel LaRusso was absolutely adorable. What truly makes this film feel special within the context of the franchise is the way it ties together the original with the reboot by using the story of how Miyagi's ancestor invented karate after accidentally landing in China and encountering the ancestor of Mr. Han, a kung fu master. The two branches, one tree motto plants firm roots in the series' past while blooming for the future in Ben Wang's Li Fong. The gorgeous animation from the intro makes me want an anime series about the Miyagi and Han ancestors. The other key element of any and that animation, by the way, of course, reminiscent of the very famous a Japanese painting, The Wave. So if you've ever seen it, gorgeous painting. They actually have a Lego set of it that my daughter has wanted forever. The other key element of another key element of any Karate Kid movie, by the way, is the love interest, played here by the aforementioned Sadie Stanley, playing the character Mia. She's very likable in the role. She's very good. She has great chemistry with Ben Wang's Fong Li. And one thing I liked about her character, besides obviously how likable she was, is there's one small scene before her father is going to fight, before her father's fight, where Ben had seen her at this festival in, looked like it was in Little Italy, the San Gennaro festival, and like it was in Little Italy, and he had seen her with her ex, the bad guy of the film, Aramis Knight's Connor Day, who, like, as you know, my politically challenged cinephile brother down here said, is very, very reminiscent of the old 80s and 90s bad guys, in which he's just evil just for the sake of being evil. So yeah, this guy's just a straight jerk. But either way, there's a scene where Ben had seen them together, and he looked like they were kind of cozy to each other. So he confronts her about it. He's kind of distant to her. She confronts him about it. And he tells her that he had seen her. And the explanation she gives is perfect, because this is something we actually did not get from the first film although, you know, of course, but she actually explains why, you know, she had been with him in the first place, where she says, you know, where you make a mistake, but you keep making that same mistake, and you know it's a mistake, but you keep making it because it feels comfortable to you. It's there. Well, I chose not to do that last night. He wanted to come on again, and I considered it, but I told him no. I told him there was another guy I really liked. That's you, Lee. So I thought that was a really, really good moment for her character. So it was a very small moment, but a very important one. I really, really liked that moment there. So Sadie Stanley did a very great job. She's very, very likable here, very reminiscent of Elizabeth Shue in many ways in the first one, but I thought they actually went just a little deeper there because of that one little scene. And finally, of course, there's the villain. Everybody needs a great villain, and Aramis Knight's Connor Day is fantastic for that. You know, he reminds me a lot of Mike Barnes from Karate Kid 3, and that he just and of course, Johnny, of course, although there seems to be no real redemptive character here. Although at the end, he does basically give Ben Wang's Li Fong some respect. You know, he does give him some respect. So maybe there is some kind of redemption arc possible there. But I mean, I don't think it's necessarily necessary. But I thought it was that, you know, you can, to sum up, you know, I've talked before about how you could do something new and do it really good, do something new and exciting, or you can do the same old thing, but do it very, very well. I thought that's basically what this does. This basically follows the tried and true Karate Kid formula with a few alterations, such as focusing on the relationship between him, Victor, and Mia's father. And I thought it was really, really, I thought it did it extremely well. It basically follows the Karate Kid formula more or less. It does so extremely well. So my This was even better than I expected it to be. I figured it would be maybe a 3 out of 5 stars, but I wound up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. So my rating is an 8 out of 10. Very enthusiastic 8 out of 10. And that's my rating.
Yeah, talk about missing one scene
Yeah.
and then seeing. Because the thing, when I went into my screening the first time, I missed that whole opening, talk about the 2 branches and all that. So I got into the movie when it was showing Mr. Han's dojo and all that, and so it just felt kind of fun to me. So I watched it again, and it made more sense.
And you say my fucking mechanical keyboard's fucking annoying. Well,
like you're giving Bruce Almighty a run for his
Yeah.
money. Like, geez, man. I guess
He's writing a novel. He's writing a novel.
All right. Since everyone gave their opinion, I guess I'm the only one that really didn't go full in depth. I mean, honestly, because as far as the things that I really liked, yeah, the opening, even though I think I'm calling them BS, but at the same time though, like when has Karate Kid ever like they retcon a lot of stuff in the Cobra Kai show. So if I'm gonna allow that, then I'll allow this. Yeah, I did like one of the scenes that I really, really liked is I really did like the scene with Daniel and Mr. Han meeting for the first time. I thought it was really nice, you know, Mr. Han coming in to pay his respects to Miyagi, even though we never seen them be friends on screen, because obviously, you know.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate that the first time watching it, seeing those 2 on screen.
Yeah, but I definitely enjoyed them, you know, interacting for the first time. I liked I like the whole stuff with Ben's character with Lee's character with his brother, because I mean I kind of understood what they were going for. It's like it's not necessarily like, you know, I mean the bully thing, I mean the antagonist, that's just, you know, to round out the movie, but his real challenge is for him to like let go of, you know, what happened with his brother, because what happened wasn't his fault, and he needs to, like, you know, come to terms and, you know, and overcome his fear and everything. And I do like how the Dragon Kid was the subplot. I mean, every movie, every Karate Kid movie has a move that they have to like learn to, you know, round out the film. I mean, the first movie was the crane kick, second movie was the drum technique, third movie was the kata. I'm not calling it the Macarena. They're doing it to be funny. I'm not calling it the Macarena. What the heck was the move in the next Karate Kid that Hilary Swank? Like literally, all she did was just do praying hands and did a kick. That's it.
I want to know. I didn't see Next Karate Kid.
Neither have I.
Neither did I. I didn't bother watching it because
I still like the next Karate Kid. I mean, for me, it was the relationship between, you know, Pat Morita and Hilary Swank's characters, because I thought they did a really good job.
And plus,
interesting to seeing him interact with a female character rather than a male, because I mean, there's a different dynamic there. You know,
yeah,
it takes probably protective.
And plus, Pat Morita still being charming like he always is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the 2010 Karate Kid movie, it was the Cobra or the snake technique with, you know, now the move with Dre doing a flip. I mean, when did he learn how to do a flip? I don't know. At least in this one, it's more convincing of Lee doing that, because we've seen him do, you know, stuff like that before. I do think the fact that Ben Fong actually knows martial arts, it makes it even more convincing. It makes him believable as he's doing all these stunts. One problem that I do have though, I know this is like a nitpick, but like me personally, I find it very hard to believe that a dude who knows Kung Fu loses to a dude who knows karate. How does a dude know Kung Fu, and Kung Fu is supposed to be more advanced, and he loses to a dude who knows karate? I don't know. I don't know.
That's stupid.
Really stupid.
I mean, it doesn't ruin the movie, but it really is distracting, because I'm watching the trailers, right? And I'm like, what does he need to learn karate for? This dude is doing flips. He knows kung fu.
Because I mean, it's like Bruce Lee said. Bruce Lee believed in learning as many styles as fighting as possible because that's more skills in your toolbox.
Yeah,
Each one, allows you to overcome the limitations of the other. So I mean,
fair enough.
It gives you, because the thing is, yeah, he knows kung fu, but I mean, learning some things in Miyagi karate allows him to give more tools in his toolbox so he can, adapt.
I know kung fu.
Be like it's like Ben said himself. Be like water. Adapt. You have to adapt to your opponent.
Which, speaking of, I really like the subplot of him teaching the bog.
I did too. I loved it.
I did. I didn't have. I thought it was something new, and it was really clever for this time. He's teaching someone rather than he. I mean, obviously he does learn
that was
from somebody else.
That was something even in my first watch. Even though I was very negative, I was like, "All right, movie. I mean, I won't bite, but I'll nibble." Where are you going with this?
Like I thought it was really interesting, and obviously he's not. I mean, that's obviously a boxer is. I mean, he's not really teaching him kung fu. He's really teaching him how with his footwork and everything. I thought it was clever. I do like the 1-inch punch. I like how that does play a factor in not just not just the the boxing match, but in the final fight. I would say a negative that I had, or a negative that I had. I guess I'm just gonna go back and forth on stuff I liked and stuff I didn't like. The mom, I'm sorry, but she kind of annoyed me in the movie because literally every scene that she's in, it's no fighting. No fighting. I told you not to fight. No fighting.
I'm confused. Do you not want him to fight?
And I'm just like, dude. All right, the first time, why didn't Lee just say, I didn't fight. Someone punched me in the face.
Hey, well, I mean, honestly, yeah, that was a kind of a complaint of mine too, because I mean, like, he should have just said it. But I mean, I think he feels guilty. But I mean, I think that was explained by the fact that she's trying to protect him because her son died. Her other son died. And he clearly feels guilty over that because of his inaction. So I mean, I think
and I get that. It's just the fact that I feel like they could have added more depth to the mother instead of her literally every time she's on screen. It's I said no fighting. I said no fighting because like with the hospital scene, I'm like she gets mad at him again, and I'm like he wasn't even fighting. He was teaching him to help him better his boxing.
He was teaching him to fight. That's still technically part of the fighting.
What about self-defense?
Exactly. Like
she wants to protect him. That's literally why she moved to New York, to get him away from all that.
Okay, well that's gonna happen.
If you're going somewhere like New York, I'm just saying, if you're in the city, you expect some violent and some sketchy people.
She lost her son. What do y'all not get about that? She lost.
I get that, but they could have at least made.
There's no butt there. You lost a fucking child, man.
Okay, but it's like, dude, do you honestly expect him to not have to defend himself? He's living in New York City.
Yeah. You gotta. It's like, no fighting. It's like, bro, I got punched in the face. Like I don't know what to tell you.
What did you want me to do?
And here's
what did you want me to do?
Like I did, but I got a question. Like for those of y'all that have seen Cobra Kai, because I said in my review with Daniel's character, even though I wanted more of him, I still thought he was perfectly in character here. It was good to see him, so they didn't misuse him writing wise. For those of you that have seen Cobra Kai, how do you feel about this as an extension of Cobra Kai?
I mean, considering that Cobra Kai pretty much ended a 6-season arc for Daniel, I know I know he wasn't used as much, but it's like there's no need to expand on anything with Daniel. I mean, again, we got an entire 6-season show talking about seeing Daniel's journey and him progressing as a character. There really is no need for anything new with him.
Yeah.
Like it just at that point it defeats the purpose of a finale with the show. I mean,
honestly, I think Daniel really should be settling more into the Mr. Miyagi role at this point. So, I mean, I really don't like the idea that they put Miyagi in the. I don't know. I guess they're talking about a series with Miyagi fighting in the Kumite, whatever. but
I don't think we need a prequel series about Miyagi.
I was
we
gonna say no.
I
don't
mean,
think
I don't think so
John
either.
Burns
But
would
I'm
do
just saying I think that's what it seemed like. That's what they were setting up with that whole subplot. I'm not sure what
I
they.
don't know. I mean,
Well,
just to like round off this point though, it's like I feel like they could have done with with what they did with Carmen and Cobra Kai, because Carmen in the beginning was against Miguel doing karate, but then obviously she opened up to it, and it gradually led to her being more accepting of it. In the movie, it's just
she opened her legs up to Johnny.
Yeah, that too. I mean, in the movie, it's just like one moment I'm against it, the next moment, oh, okay, I'm
Jackie
I accept
Chan is very convincing. You do what Jackie Chan says, okay?
That is true though. It is Jackie Chan. But speaking of Jackie Chan, I know Zach said, I know in the beginning, initially, he didn't like how Jackie Chan, like Mr. Han's character, went from being depressed to now being. And I'm like, and I told him this like off shit. I'm like, dude, it's been 15 years. Do you really expect Mr. Han to be depressed for 15 years?
Because initially I said, like, the rest of you weren't here. Because initially, like, I was on a hangout yesterday. I said, like, I felt like I was watching his character from The Spy Next Door.
I mean, hey, I honestly, I'm happy that Mr. Han is more, is more like happy-go-lucky. Because I mean, the dude lost his son and his wife. Now he has a karate school. He has a relationship with his nephew. I mean, yes, technically speaking, he did lose another family member. He lost his other nephew, but he still has, Lee. And now I understand why in the trailer, or why he says like Lee means to me what Sensei Miyagi meant to you, because it's like, yes, Dre was his first student, but at the same time, though, Lee is his nephew.
Literally
he is his
family.
flesh and blood. He is his flesh and blood. Not to say that Dre.
But generally speaking, I did still feel off put by no mention of Dre, just in general. If that's fair.
I mean, yes, I would have liked it if Dre was mentioned, just for like, even if he had like a minor cameo. But I'm sure
not even
Jaden Smith
have a scene with him, right? But just like some mention of like, oh, this is someone that meant a lot to me also. Like, it just felt weird to me that there was no mention of him.
I will admit, I do like how Mr. Han calls Mr. Miyagi Sensei Miyagi. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just like that. Like, he's Sensei Miyagi.
The movie does do a good job of continuing what Cobra Kai did with honoring Miyagi's legacy. I will give him that.
Yeah. I mean, well, now speaking of the whole, with Cobra Kai, I got spoiled. I got spoiled this when I was surfing on TikTok, but I'm not. And funny, like I saw this. I was surfing TikTok, and I saw the scene. I saw the end credit scene. I'm with my friends. I'm on my phone. I see the ending, and I see Johnny. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, this just was like involuntary. I didn't even plan on doing this. I screamed like a little girl. I let out a little girl scream because I was like, "Oh my god, it's Johnny!" I was not expecting Johnny to be in this movie, and even when I saw the film, I still was happy. I was smiling when I saw Johnny because, to add to what John said, I mean, the fact that he got applauded in his theater, like, that is a full circle moment. Like, to go from someone who was basically the hated villain of a movie that came out in the 80s to then having his lead show and him becoming a fan favorite, me personally, but like a more fan favorite than Daniel, but him being like he's basically the I don't want to say Vegeta, because Vegeta, I mean, people love Vegeta, but what's a character that what is the most well-known character that you would say went from being the most hated to then being the most universally loved and after a certain point? Piccolo? I mean, we don't have to necessarily keep it an anime.
Wait, could you repeat that again?
Ahsoka Tano.
Wait, could you repeat that again?
I was saying, like, can we think, like, is there like a well-known character that's like the staple of being like a character that went from being the most hated to then being universally loved
Miles
Ahsoka.
Morales.
to the point where he's more.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow the Hedgehog was hated.
Well, I mean, he was a
Not
villain.
hate.
He was a villain. I thought that's what you meant when
I mean,
thought
not
you
just
meant
a
hated.
villain, but
I'm sorry.
like just like a hated character by the
Oh,
fandom.
my bad. My bad.
Yeah. Like
I
I
mean-
said, I'm gonna go with Ahsoka Tano for me.
I mean, I guess, but
No, Zach has
guess.
a point. I remember when people absolutely
Yeah, that's
fucking
true.
hated Ahsoka. I remember.
Yeah, a lot of people did. Yeah. I mean, honestly,
She was annoying. She was an annoying kid. That was like half the point. So
I
That
didn't
was-
like
yeah,
her
that
at
was the
first
point.
either, honestly, just because I saw the original movie when it came out. Went with my ex-wife and we saw it, and it just wasn't very good. It just was like, wow, that.
Oh, the Clone Wars
I've
movie?
heard the Clone Wars because the Clone Wars movie, from what I've heard, is like 4 episodes of the show just squeezed together.
Yeah.
Like,
it has
yeah,
to be.
this
It have to
sucks.
be. It'd have to be like 5 episodes because the movie's like 98 minutes and like
Yeah,
because like 4 episodes would be like 88 minutes. Like so it had to be like maybe 5 episodes.
Well, I mean, they show at the beginning how yes, when Ahsoka first became his Padawan, and then they go into this whole thing about Jabba the Hutt's baby getting kidnapped or something, and it's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is this? And
Like even I'll admit, like I'm the Clone Wars stan. Like this is my favorite show of all time.
oh yeah, and I refused to watch the series for a long time after that because I was like, this is
Yeah,
crap.
like-
I don't want to see
Yeah,
this. But
yeah,
then
'cause, like,
when I finally checked it out, I was like, damn, this is actually a really good series. Shit.
So
Yeah,
okay, then so then Ahsoka is the template. So yeah, Johnny basically, Johnny became like this universally loved character, and I'm glad that he's getting this treatment. I mean, I wasn't in the theater, but I'm sure if I would have loved to have been in John's theater. The fact that people clapped clearly
and
shows that
keep in
they
mind-
watched Cobra Kai.
Hey,
And there were a lot of teenagers in my theater. There were a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers. But even funnier, when Daniel showed up, he got like maybe a couple claps, like a scattering of claps, like from a couple people. Fucking actually, people applauded when Johnny came up. The first logo came up before the epilogue, and then when the credits rolled, people applauded 3 times.
exactly. Same here. Same in mine.
That's
yeah.
how you. That's
We're
how you
applauding
become a
at the
household.
end, and especially when Johnny showed up. Yeah,
But I
Like, that's
gotta
how
say, like I haven't
great.
because I haven't finished Cobra Kai, but I'm getting the general gist of what they're going for. Like that's why I really like Cobra Kai because it's so smart. It doesn't go the general predictable route of Johnny's still the villain wanting revenge. Like they go a smarter route, and you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen. It would have been really, really nice if in the next Karate Kid it would have been William. I mean, I like Hilary Swank, but I think it would have been really
Well,
satisfying.
that's what Pat Morita wanted to do. He wanted to make a movie with Johnny Lawrence as the Karate Man. He wanted to, take on Johnny to like help him with his anger and like because he's doing well with his life, but not doing well enough, and he feels like he could bring balance into his life. But he died before that came into fruition. So, and essentially, Karate Man became Cobra Kai in a way.
So
where
Cobra
it
Kai
was-
technically did that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Then kind of
I mean,
honoring what he wanted to do. I like that.
I would just like to say we can thank 2 things, because if we didn't get Cobra Kai, we wouldn't have gotten this movie. So I want to thank 2 people, or I guess 2 properties. One, the Daniel was the real bully video. That video basically started Cobra Kai, but technically speaking, that did not come out first. How I Met Your Mother came out first, because Barney was like, Daniel's not the real Karate Kid. It was Johnny. Johnny is the real Karate Kid.
Well, to be fair, Barney was also like he rooted for the villain,
the villain
as the hero in everything he watched. So
yeah, but like the fact that like he like that incidentally that kind of caused like a ripple effect, because I mean the whole it was an illegal kick, like I mean that was never I didn't really hear about the illegal kick thing until and then they incorporated that into the pilot of the show, and then the Daniel's the real bully video where I'm watching it and I'm just like, you know what, he's not technically wrong. Daniel was kind of, you know, being antagonizing Johnny a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
technically speaking, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, we went from that to now getting this movie, and I mean, like I already said, I would not mind a spin-off show where it's you know, Johnny teaching Devin, Kenny, and Anthony. I know technically speaking in the timeline, you know, it's not, you know, it wouldn't make sense, you know, as far as
I still want that. I'm still thinking about that animation at the beginning because I really like that. I'm like, damn, that would be really nice to have an anime series, even if it was just a mini series focused on, you know, Mr. Han and Mr. Miyagi's ancestor and Han's ancestor. You know, I mean, that would be really, really nice.
I was going to say, Mark will slowly turn to the weeb side, right?
I think it could be like, if it's a mini series, it could be like an episode per generation, or if it's a series, like a proper series, it could be like a season per generation. You know,
can I just ask, am I the only one when it showed like the scene from Karate Kid 2? Like, am I the only one that wasn't like quoting what he was saying? Because obviously I've seen the movie so much to the point where I know the like, you know, the some like lines by memory where like, yeah, when Miyagi was talking about like the whole, like, you know, with Shimpo Sensei, and he's like, strong wind, strong ocean, strong sake, but no fish.
I haven't seen Karate Kid 2 in years.
Yeah,
it's so good,
and I never watched 3, Next Karate Kid, or the remake, so I don't know about any of those.
You know what I like about Karate Kid 2? Like, I obviously don't think it's better, but I just like how darker it is.
Karate Kid 3?
2.
Oh, Karate Kid 2.
Yeah, that 2.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it deals with, you know, it kind of ups the, that's what sequels normally do. They up the ante. I mean, you have Daniel saving a little girl in a typhoon. You got literally 2 people fighting to death. You have someone dying. I mean, you didn't have that really in the first movie. I mean, it was implied, but you didn't have it on screen. You had like arranged marriage. You got like, you know, attempted murder because Chosen tried to kill him multiple times.
Yeah, although it is funny when Lee is like fighting against, you know, Connor, and then he like tries to get at him after he loses and all that, and he's like ready to punch him. Two things. I said in the theater, kill him! Everybody laughed around me.
Do it.
And
what he should have done was.
And then I said to my dad, I was like, what he should have done was the honk thing. And then my dad was like, oh,
you know what would have been cool? You know what would have been cool is if Daniel did that.
But I don't think he would have known that. So like,
how would
it makes sense that he would just like punch the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I liked that moment because because I don't know. I mean, John said you didn't say you watched the remake. So in the 2010 remake, there's actually an alternate ending, and it actually expands. It kind of mirrors that of the Karate Kid Part 2, where in the alternate ending you got Mr. Han fighting the John Kreese character in the film, and bro, Mr. Han low-key was about to like, he was actually about to like, you know, he had him at his mercy, and he was low-key about to like, you know, go crazy. And then Dre's like, no, Mr. Han, don't do it. Like, don't stoop to his level. And I thought that's what they were kind of doing with that moment, like paying homage, because not a lot of people know that that's like people. I don't think a lot of people know that was like a scene that was made. It got cut. I mean, it got cut from the original film, but I mean, so if we were to, so with this film, you know, being out and everything, what would we say with out of all the films, which would we say is the best, like, final, like I wouldn't, like, final battle, final fight? I mean,
I don't know. I've only seen 3 of them, so I don't
Oddly
know.
enough, I might go with the second one. The original is iconic, like, for obvious reasons, but just something about like with him coming in all zip lining and all that, taking the chicken off. Like, There's just so much iconic imagery in that sequence too. I think I like it more.
I feel like if Karate Kid 3 did a lot of things better, it would have been the best. Because I do like the speech that Miyagi gives to Daniel, where he's like, "It's okay to lose to opponent, like must not lose to fear." But it also kind of, I feel like that was told in the wrong movie, because it's kind of hilarious how Daniel went from fighting a dude to the death to then fighting a regular guy, and now all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I'm afraid of this regular dude because he punches harder." Like, how do you, dude? You fought a dude to the death. You should be like living. You should be like coasting right now.
But dude, I mean, he's just, I mean, he's fighting somebody who's a professional tournament fighter. He's basically fighting a professional here. So,
Johnny was a professional. He won like 2 titles.
That's not.
Yeah, but Mike Barnes was like that. It's like, I don't know. It's just like it would be like, going up against like Bruce Lee. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like you go against this guy, but it's a lot like it's still like a bit of a a jump from Johnny.
Yeah, exactly. I think of it as like an Olympian versus, back when the Olympics were truly for amateur athletes and didn't allow professional athletes. But in the old days, we'd be kind of like an Olympian versus a professional athlete. So, I mean,
yeah, it still is kind of silly because it's like, dude, you fought a crazier guy than Mike Barnes, and it was 2 to death, bro. Like, he tried to kill you multiple times. Heck, how are you afraid of a regular guy? But when you were saving a girl during a typhoon, you're like, oh.
Different context, man. Different context. Besides, you gotta say,
I know.
He sold the fuck out of that as Mike Barnes, man. Come on, he did a great job.
I'm just nitpick. I'm just being a dick.
You weren't lying.
I'm being. Oh, come on. I'm just being nitpicking. I think it's funny because again, I'm not like Devin and Rob to where I'll be like, oh, he's doing the Macarena, but I won't lie. It does look kind of funny. It does look kind of funny. It does look kind of funny.
Karate Kid 3 though, because a lot of Cobra Kai, especially the later seasons, what I've heard, would not work without Karate Kid 3.
No, if anything, it makes Karate Kid 3 better.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Is like, that's what I'm trying to say. So we gotta give Karate Kid 3 some credit.
I won't lie. Like in Karate Kid season 4, like when Daniel sees Terry again, they were playing that music. I'm like, oh man, like that was a good introduction scene. Like I'm like, it's like season 4, I'm like watching season 4. I'm like, wow, they really made Karate Kid 3 like actually like good. They made Karate Kid 3 like kind of like enjoyable and not ridiculous. 11 when he pounds him. It's like
what about future movie potential? What do y'all want out of this?
Do we need another sequel? I mean,
if this makes money, we're gonna fucking get another one.
I don't think it's really making a profit. I saw that it made like 5.7 million in like the opening. Like, let me see how much it's making right now.
It's only Saturday, so we don't know. Usually, those projections come in like not projections.
Monday.
The went on Sunday because it's usually the previews, then the Friday and Saturday, which are the biggest days. So
the budget was 45 million, so it needs to make 112.5 million at break even. It's currently at the box office is currently at 21 million. So, I
think it was supposedly tracking for what 20 million opening weekend.
I mean, the budget was only $45 million. So if that's the case, then it's probably going to make half its budget in the first week.
Which is solid, very good.
And then which is pretty solid. And then we're probably going to get more
I mean, maybe it could do like it could do well enough, like maybe an extra week or something. But then again, it would be going up against another movie, you know, coming out next week, Ballerina. So
I mean, we'll see how it does internationally.
I don't know. It's not looking good for that movie. So we'll see.
Hell, I might go see this now. I mean, I liked it enough. I'd give it $7.
I mean, yeah, I feel like Karate Kid Legends will probably do well, like internationally. Now, is it gonna do the numbers that like the 2010 movie did? Probably not. Like that's like I think that's the most commercially successful.
Isn't the reboot like the highest grossing of the series?
It is. I mean, plus honestly, it's for many reasons. I mean, they shot it in China. That definitely was going to make a lot of money in China. Jackie Chan, everyone loves Jackie Chan. Plus, again, Jackie Chan is like he's a legend up in China. So that's definitely gonna, which is why Karate Kid Legends will probably do a lot. I feel like China probably is going to help this movie a lot financially. I mean, I hope it does because I don't want this movie to bomb.
Because, I mean, yeah, like even me, like I'm kind of divided on the screen time for the legacy characters. Like, I have a feeling that could affect the box office.
I mean,
because your word of mouth will get out. They're not in it that much. Like they're the ones who want to see. Pretty much what I was thinking first.
Okay. I got an announcement to make, fellas. We got some news.
Okay.
The final season of Stranger Things, Volume 1, November 26, 2025. Volume 2,
God.
December 25th, 2025. And Volume 3, December 31st, 2025. So we're getting it all in the same year, and we're not waiting 2 months in between each volume. Thank you.
Me to Netflix, I don't believe you.
No, seriously, like
I believe it when I see it. I'm just saying, I don't believe it. It's been that fucking long. I'll believe it when I fucking see it.
They actually released.
I believe you. I'm just saying, I'll believe it.
It's Deadline's announcing it too.
I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying I'll believe it when I see it. I'm sure the announcement is real. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't believe Netflix.
Oh, okay.
we got to talk about the real news when it comes to Netflix. That we got the first trailer for Del Toro's Frankenstein, and it looks fucking awesome.
Don't cream your screen, Devin.
Apparently, another fun fact I didn't realize. Like, I got it spoiled for me, but I don't really care. Doctor Who has officially gone down even further into the shitter. Yeah.
Returning to Karate Kid Legends, I just looked up the cinema score. It got a very solid A-. Got a very good score at cinema score.
Okay, but cinema score also, they don't rate a Marvel film lower than a B. Like,
I mean, that's not them rating anything, though. It's just based on surveys of fans. So,
okay, but also, dude, like taking a cinema score seriously, it's like taking something from Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm saying it's a very good, because look, the multiplier from week to week typically follows the cinema score because it's a good indication of word of mouth. How fans feel about the film. It's a very good indication of how fans feel about the film because it's actually based on surveys of fans as they're leaving the theater. So it's a pretty good indication of what the word of mouth is going to be. So I'm just saying, I don't think you need to worry about bad word of mouth for this film.
And if you really think about it, cinema score is way more reliable than Rotten Tomatoes. Or at least I'm starting to think so lately.
Rotten Tomatoes, it seems like for Rotten Tomatoes, you're either positive or negative. Like, there's no in between. That's why Rotten Tomatoes is very weird.
Yeah, but also Rotten Tomatoes has a lot of both. Rotten Tomatoes.
By the way, Devin, the reviews for this film I meant to say are not bad. They're mixed. That's the problem. My problem with Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody say, "Oh, it's a 58%. It's rotten." Critics hate it. No, they don't. It's mixed.
Yeah,
literally over half of them like it. So that's mixed.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes is
Yeah.
bogus because Lilo and Stitch has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Fucking thank you, exactly.
No.
Because most critics are bogus.
It's,
Most
it's like
critics
a
are bullshit.
70. It's like
Because
it's
no,
Rotten
no,
70.
It's like in last time I checked, it was like in the upper 60s.
Oh, the tomato meter. Sorry, the tomato meter is 70%. The popcorn meter is 93%.
That's the audience
Yeah,
score.
but like
Yeah, that's
people are
all
just-
you need.
Yeah, because Ohana means let me abandon my little sister
Oh
to
my
go on
God.
college.
Oh my
Let's
God,
not
not
get
this.
it. This is not. We're not talking about this.
Can
We're getting into
we
this.
wrap
We're not
this up,
talking about
please?
this.
I'm
We're
sorry.
not talking about this. Let's move
Sorry.
on. Let's
sorry.
Can we
not
please-
talk about that.
I'm sorry. I'm
So-
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
What's our next review?
I'm sorry. But yeah, this has pretty much been the review for the Karate Kid Legends. Some liked it, some loved it,
Yep.
and some hated it.
I loved
But
it.
at the end of the day, by the end of the day, we all love movies. And
What's
yeah,
our next review?
I don't know.
Okay, the next review is going to be Ballerina, and that's going to be hosted by Rome. And guess what? Me and my fellow North Carolinian are going to see it early on Wednesday.
At Regal Theater.
No, fuck Regal. AMC.
Because
Oh,
Heartbreak does sound
No.
good in a place like this.
No, Regal Unlimited.
No, AMC.
I don't have the video. I'm sorry. I don't have the. Yeah, I don't. Let's just pretend that that's like playing.
And John is on my side. Come on, John.
I don't feel like it. I don't have my phone near me.
Yeah. Tom Cruise, you lucky son of a bitch. You lucky bastard. You better treat Ana de Armas right, or I will come for you. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. But anyways,
Why is he dating her? Because
I have
he
no idea.
Because he can.
Oh yeah.
Because
But-
he can.
But,
Same reason the cat licks its own asshole.
Hey,
but as always, I'm the world's biggest geek, joined by the KitchenAid Whiskey Jones, Cinematic Sterling, the Geek Informant, Zach and Right Dude. As always, have a nice day. You're still here?